away we go. Hey, it's Michael, High Power Garage, and this is Questioning Everything, probably I think episode 3 now. So basically what we've gone and done is we've mocked up our radiator and our intercooler in an unusual way. So I got it in backwards right now just because I haven't notched out the other side over here. And we've modified the hood latch. And then the other thing we've done is we've chopped out this portion of the radiator support here that was the box section of that guy, and we've basically tucked the radiator in right there. So we just finally got our fan today. We had it on back order, and that's how our fan fits. So this is transmission in the stock location. The motor's sitting a little bit high. I'm probably going to drop it down about, let's say an inch. I'm going to drop the engine down an inch. So dropping the engine down an inch, that'll bring this down to here. I see the engine sits a little bit high in this truck. I made my own mounts. I could probably go down a little bit more. I may have to do some drilling. Let's see, I don't have a ton of room to do drilling, but I could probably flip those over. Or I could just re-weld them after I drop it down a bit. So I might cut those off, and just to get the motor to sit a little bit lower. I've got lots of pan clearance. So this is a 97 Power Stroke Rad. As you can see, I've removed this guy here because doing what I've done here, this gives me like an extra 1.5 inches of wire, and you might not think it's a much, but it's a huge amount. I've gone and I've tucked the wiring in right up under here. Because this radiator comes up here, it humps up here, and what I've done is I've just drilled holes and I've just put these pins in temporarily just to mock it up, just to hang it. I'm probably going to have to put some kind of insulation or something in here. I mean, this plastic here does keep it off, but I want to put something in here just to insulate it. And I've modified the mount. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of angle iron in from about here, on here, all the way across to here. So I'm going to put angle iron right across the top, probably 2 inch by 2 inch. And I checked really carefully. There's two things I can do. I can either eliminate this piece here and just put these guys, put either weld bolts in here or just tap and thread my angle iron. And if I eliminate this piece and put an angle iron in here, I could possibly even weld nuts right on the front side, because this can come this way about that much and still latch into the hood. So if you look up here, that right there hits right on there. So with that spring pushing down on here, and this is just canted a bit, it'll actually end up like that. So that's there. That means I've got a little bit of wriggle room up here. So I can move this latch out a little bit and it'll still use the spring. I can still have it closed, latch properly, because I'm still to the back, and I can come a little bit more to the front. Not much, but I can come a little bit. Now the big question is, I've put a piece of cardboard in here temporarily just to space this intercooler off, and like I said, I've put the intercooler in facing frontwards for now, just to, because I haven't notched this out yet. I haven't decided how much I have to notch or where I'm going to notch it, just based on how it fits, because I still need to accommodate this guy. Now, that's the intercooler. You can see the radiator sits just below it, and the big question is going to be, if you come back here and you look straight down from the other side, there's about 1.5 inches on this side between the forward spring perch shackle and the radiator. And then on this side, it is a little bit tighter. So I measured carefully and I got it right in the center, but just the way things hang and the way things sit. So I don't have a ton of room to actually build a bracket to support the radiator. So basically, I'll spin it around here. What I've done is I've cut out the entire bottom of the rad support for now. So as you can see, the radiator sits quite a bit far forward of where the rad support was. So here's where the rad support came through down, and then the radiator sits right up tight, and you can also see where this comes up and then comes out. So I've had a lot of kind of comments, oh, you're never going to make it work. So what I've done is I've mocked it up as best I can, with a little bit of modification. If I spun this around, I can actually get my grill to fit. I can get my grill to fit, I can get the plastic piece to fit. I've butchered the bottom piece of the grill, only keeping the supports where the where the grill goes in. So grill goes in here, grill goes in there. There's my emergency spare hood in case I make too much of a boo-boo on this hood. Now the only question is air conditioning. So I'm probably going to have to cut this out, and I may have to do a little trimming here in the back side just to get my air conditioning to fit. So what I'm hoping to do is to sandwich the air conditioning in between these two. So I'm going to need 1 inch, and the reason I want to do it that way is because I think I can just stretch out my air conditioning lines here. Because there's enough of a bend in that, I'm just going to try and stretch that out to make up for the 2 inches that I've lost. That one is going to be harder than this one, because this one is just the hose, and the hose I can just go wherever it needs to. Now I've kind of taken another look underneath. I think I can push the engine back about 1/2 inch after I lower it without having any real issues. I can go 1/2 inch. I got tons of room back here, just buckets of room. The other issue is that I have a Ford adapter plate, so that's a factory Ford adapter plate. So with the factory Ford adapter plate, I think they're about 1 inch thicker than the other aftermarket ones. I'm not sure about that. I believe they are. I haven't measured them. I don't have any of the other kind, but I know that if I go and look at my stock Dodge one, so if I come over here and I look at my stock Dodge adapter plate, let me see, I got a couple of them here. I believe that's the thick one, so I believe that's the one for the standard, and then the one for the automatic, yeah, it's way tucked in the back there. Yeah, see, that's thinner than the other one. So I'm going to say that's about at least 3/4 inch thinner than the other one. And all of those things go to determine where your engine sits at the front. So as it is right now, I can still bolt the bumper on. The bumper will sit factory. I may have to go to a Dodge style intercooler, just because this 6-liter intercooler is just a monster. I mean, the thing's huge. I mean, it's yeah, it's just huge. It's like the size of a 460 Radiator. But anyways, that's where we're at. I had a bunch of Radiator hoses kicking around. So this is a stock Dodge hose. I've just cut. This is where I'm going to put my Radiator lid, the rad cap, and then this is just an old IDI hose I had kicking around that I've just cut and modified. So that's the plan for that. When I get this all set up, I'll probably have to chop this hose a little more. I would like the fan to be sitting back a little bit more. Just depends on how much movement there is in the engine. So right now, yeah, there's not buckets of room. I don't know how much these things flex, but that's where we're at. So our next phase is going to chop this, mock it up, turn it around, see how it goes, and yeah, we're hoping we can fit the Power Stroke rad into the front of the Ford, just like that. Brace it with an angle iron at the top, and then I'm going to do a rubber mounted angle iron piece at the bottom. I'm just going to basically tie it into the rad support, and then just go from there. So there you go. Might have to do some trimming and cutting and trimming, but yeah, that's it. Now if I turn around, I do have a Dana 60 front end. So if I do Dana 60 front end, I'm going to do a shackle reverse kit. If I do a shackle reverse kit, that actually brings this shackle up forward to about here and drops it down to there. So that'll give me tons of clearance then. So I think I've got that covered, and that's where we're at. So that's High Power Garage, going the other way, questioning everything, episode 3. Yeah, post your comments, any suggestions would be great. High Power Garage, over and out.